Lighting's not very good. The lighting actually is there, and we got no lights over the other side of the room. But if I face the other way, it's not such a nice backdrop. All the washing is over there that's coming to dry. It's really grey, wet autumn day, and there's so much more I want to talk to you about. My friend Sophie says I'm addicted. I'm going to give you a link to Sophie's new YouTube site. She's a um, Jolie Moi beauty consultant. She was working for Neal's Yard Remedies Organic, who have will be letting go of France and Germany in January. So she's changed from that. She bought Neal's Yard to France 10 years ago, and she's moved on, and she's starting her own YouTube channel, which would be really nice if you would subscribe. Even if you're not interested, it would be quite nice for her to have subscribers. I'll put her link um, in the description. Um, Mostly, I think I'm going to talk about banking. There's some things I was remembering. I do this all the time. I'm sort of drifting, dozing, whatever. I'm thinking there's quite a lot of stuff about banking that I just don't take any notice of. But it was quite, and sometimes it's quite important. I think I'll mention the most important thing first, which our dear friend Eric, who died a couple of years ago, he wrote as we were coming. He'd written this long list of instructions because Eric did like to tell you what to do. But the long list of instructions included when you sort out your checkbook, you make sure that it says Monsieur ou Madame, not Monsieur uh, et Madame, but it's Monsieur ou Madame, which means either of you can sign the cheque. Really important. I've come across at least two examples, real life examples, of women. It could have been the other way around, but it just so happened it was women whose husbands died, and they couldn't access the bank account because it had to be both signatures, and he died and wasn't able to sign, and with bureaucracy, and as you know, in France it took months to sort out. You really don't need that sort of thing going on when you're grieving the loss of your husband. So when you take out a French bank account, make sure it's Monsieur ou Madame, which we've done. Um, the other thing about banking is quite often when you're doing some sort of financial transaction, like setting up a direct debit or some sort of bill payment, you'll be asked for a RIB. That is a RIB. It's got your banking coordinates on it. It's got a very long number on it called an IBAN number, and you'll need that and all the other numbers on the RIB. And these RIBs are in your checkbook, they tear off. You can also find them on your statement. There's bits that you can print off from your statement online and whatever, so you'll need a RIB. Um, the other difference for me and for me being British, is that on your cheque you write the amount payable on the top line and you write the payee underneath, whereas in England you write the payee above and the amount underneath. You also write on your French cheque where you are when you write the cheque. Um, so, it's not in the bathroom or the kitchen, but I might put the name of the village we live in, or I normally put the name of our hamlet. I might, if I'm in a town somewhere, I might write the name of the town. So you put the name of the town and then you date it and sign it. So that's quite important, I think, about banking. The other thing I've been thinking about that isn't so important, but it's another quaint rule, I suppose, is that you do need to check that you're following the colour palette of your local town or your region when you're painting your shutters or your paintwork outside your house. you don't see many bright colours here on shutters. It would be, it's very rare, and quite often if you're driving through a town and you see really bright shutters, you can pretty much guess that the house belongs to English people. So the colours are quite muted. They're normally blues or greens or whites, or there's not any, or brown or grey. It's all very muted, and I think that the French don't go in for displaying. This is a stereotype. Making this up as I go along, but I think I'm right. Don't really go in for decorating much outside their homes. They like decorating. They like decorating inside, but they don't display all their wealth perhaps on the outside. And um, I heard an old story that may again might not be true about, back years and years ago, if you showed that you were part of the wealthy um, population, you were sort of at risk of being, I don't know, imprisoned or killed or something. That's probably loads of bullshit, but yeah, so they're not very ostentatious. The colour palette for cars also here is quite muted. I mean, we drive around in a sort of a dark grey car. The car before that we had was a sort of a metallic green, mid green. Again, don't see many brightly coloured cars driving around here or anywhere in France. Um, so I just think that, yeah, the colour palette here is more muted and less blingy. As we got onto we were queuing to go onto the shuttle under the channel a few weeks back. Behind us was a massive metallic blue. It was either a Bentley or a Rolls. I thought it was a Bentley without much thought, but it could have been a Rolls. But it was just disgusting. It was obscene, and I just thought to myself, how can you drive around in that? How can you? I just think, well, yeah, anything like that, I just can't understand it. Yeah, so you wouldn't find anything like that driving on the roads in France unless it was by someone who likes that sort of car, not me. Yes, so it's only 20 to 6. Can't get used to this hour change. Um, we'd achieved quite a lot this morning before we realised it was only 10 o'clock. It wasn't a lot really, but it just felt like it. We're doing things at 10 o'clock that normally we wouldn't be because we'd been up for longer. Um, yeah, so struggling to get used to the hour change. We've both had a bit of a siesta, and the fire's going, which doesn't help because that makes you sleepy. Um, and it's so dark, I'm going to go and put the chickens in. So, anyway, might upload this but not publish it till tomorrow because, well, I'll just upload it and see what happens. Have a good evening.